Hello, good evening and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today students we are going to start with another topic, and this topic is an extension of what we have studied in our previous class. So student, without wasting any further time, come let's begin a topic. So you must be remembering and wondering, okay teacher, what have we studied in our previous class? So yes, by looking at this image students, do you have any idea of what are we going to study today? Anything? History? Yes, because whatever image, like whatever marketplace, the buildings and the scenes, animals which we are seeing in the slide is not what we generally see in today's time, right? So whatever is portrayed in this image is related to traditional times, and in traditional times we will be dealing only with history. So let's begin our history class today. Fine students. Okay, let me just check how much you remember the following things. Now, let's recall what have we studied in a previous class. So, what are the sources of Indian history, students? Is it map or coins? Coins. Who is the cartographer? I explained in the previous class, a person who makes and draws. Yes, maps. And foreigner is a person who is known as Pardeshi. Even if he was from a different village, but it was a neighboring country or a neighboring village, even if it was not of the same village, then also in the previous time, in the traditional time, he was known as Pardeshi. Fine. Like today we call Pardeshi as to person who is foreigner, who is not a resident of India, right? But during that time, Pardeshi was known to as any person who was not from that particular village and who was different from following that particular societal norms, culture, food, religion and style. So let's begin our today's topic. Now, I have pasted few images for your reference on the screen. You may pause this video for a period of 10 to 20 seconds and observe it carefully. What are we going to study today? Okay, we are studying about books. Okay, I can see books. I can see someone is writing also. Okay, religious books. Okay, and this person is writing something. So what are these? What did people used to write in the olden historical times? Yes, in the past times, what did they used to write? Basically, what did they show? They used to write with the help of hand, and that was known as manuscripts. Yes, we studied in the previous class. Yes, that manuscripts are still preserved for in few libraries for future reference. And what was the importance of these manuscripts, students? That these manuscripts served as a record, as a base for historical proof and evidence. If anybody wanted to find out anything, any clue, he can just go, he can just find whatever he needs from this manuscript. He can check the details and he can state his argument. What I am saying is correct, what I am saying is this correct, this much, that much. So manuscripts serve as a first hand record. When I'm saying first hand record, why are they first hand? Because they were written by the person who have observed the things. So that was first hand. They were primary records. Fine. I'll also write here primary so that you may understand it more clearly. Yes. Now, let's study more. What do we know about manuscripts and what we know as scribes? Now, definitely this is true that manuscripts was written by hand. It was handwritten. It was not printed in machine or anything. Why? Because machines at that point of time were not even invented. So whatever people used to write, they used to write with their own hand. Fine. They usually collected by wealthy people, rulers, monasteries and temples. Absolutely. Manuscripts were handwritten books and only wealthy people were capable of collecting it, keeping it for future reference. And some of the rulers, kings, emperors, kingdoms also kept manuscripts for future reference and also as a show. Yes, see, I'm having this age-old manuscript. How important it is, how keenty it is. Yes, and some temples also kept manuscripts for reference. And if you want to start any argument. If they're having any argument, any disparity, any dispute, they quickly go take out the manuscript, find what they are searching for, fighting for, and show it to the people. See, whatever I am saying is correct. It is also mentioned here in the manuscript. Fine. And archives. Now, archives are also known as museums. So, manuscripts were written by a process and a thing, tool known as scribes. So, they were written by scribes, जिसको हम लोग छापा भी बोलते हैं. Fine, students. Now, excellent copywriters. Now, people imitate each and everything, but they make some mistakes whenever they are trying to imitate. So what they did, expert copywriters, they copied manuscripts by hand, because at that point of time there was no there was no scope of photocopy or Xerox and printing machines and printing press. So everything has to be copied by hand, and when they were copied by hand, they did some small changes. अच्छा ये ऐसा लिखा है, थोड़ा सा चेंज करके ऐसा लिख देता हूँ, क्या ही जाता है. So what happened? It altered the meaning, the difference, the sentence of the manuscript. Now changes were started to happen. Now small changes done by each and every manuscript writer grew subsequently and led to further copying. Now other further copying led to the total difference of one. Like if a manuscript is telling you one meaning, उसको copy करते changing the meaning, alteration करते the last copy that was coming out, it had totally different meaning. The changed version from the one that was having in its original form. So this way changes took place. Only changes in manuscripts. There were also changes in other sectors and other parts. Yes. So here we have discussed about manuscripts and how they were changed, altered. Fine, students. Now, what did authors do? Now, authors are also writing manuscripts. Suppose if I am an author, I am a very renowned Hindi author, I am writing about kings and emperors. Now, whatever information I'll be getting after a period of 6 months or 1 year or 2 years, I need to again mention in that record in my manuscript. फिर से मुझे बदलना पड़ेगा. So whatever was happening, they were writing chronicles, and chronicles were always handwritten. Okay, because absence of printing machines. Now these handwritten things also created confusion. Even if same person, same author, same person is writing his own thing after a period of 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, then confusion is again created. He himself doesn't remember what he has written 5 years back. This was the scenario because maybe he was not able to understand the process, the writing, what he used to write. Now, I'll give you one example. The 14th century chronicle, he was Ilbarani. Okay, his name is Ilbarani, and he was known for copying and writing manuscripts. Now, he wrote his first chronicle. Now, chronicle means events. E-V-E-N-T-S. Now, chronicles are events that take place in the life of rulers, authors, historians, temples, wars, kings and kingdoms. Fine. So, he wrote his first chronicle in 1356. 2 saal baad, he forgot to mention something. Now, he remembered, oh, I need to add something. So, in order to that, his version needs to be revised. Now, when he went for revision, both were different from each other, but historians did know about this existence of the first version in 1960. आपको पता है what was the difference? He wrote first in 1356, and when he went to write the second one, he himself forgot that he has written the first one. When historians were searching and when they looked out, okay, what is this? Who has written this? Then they came to know in 1960 years. 1960 years से आप हिसाब लगा लीजिए. I think around 700 years later, they found out that he has already written a first book of chronicles. See? This was a confusion that was taking place because everything was handwritten. There was no record of keeping anything. Fine. Now, a reflection point for all of you students. Name some handwritten records of present times which according to you you feel that it should be included in your life, and what are its benefits? Any handwritten records, let's say report card, progress report of your, they are very important, aren't they? Yes, report card. Then I think you can preserve this report card and you can show it to your grandchildren or further grandchildren. This was my progress, this was my academic progress when I was in class 5th, class 10th, class 7th. This is one type of written records. What else? Can we say religious text? Whatever religious scriptures we are reading today, can we mention its name? Yes. So what will be the benefit if we are mentioning about religious text? What are its benefits? Here I want to know the benefits also, so that we can show that how things were in the previous times and in the modern times, how we cannot change and alter it according to our own wish and will. Okay students, so this was the importance of written records which should be there in 2022 as well. If I'm talking about present times, so I need to write here 2022. So I hope the concept of manuscripts and their confusion is clear to all of you. Let's move forward. Okay, there's an evaluation. I have also added few extra questions so that you might understand the concept in a more precise and clear manner. Manuscripts are written by hand, machine, printing press, or none of these. Printing press तो पहले ही कट जाएगा because that was not even invented. Machines तो थे ही नहीं, बचा hand. So definitely hand is the right answer. Now, okay, so I have pasted few pictures of politics over here. Now students, you must be wondering, teacher, we are studying about history, historical text and books. Why are we seeing images of politics? What is the role of politics? Yes, yes students, think and then comment down below in the chat box also, what is the role of politics? I can see people are having social networks over here. They are social networking. I can see various national parties of India, that was TMC and Congress, BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, and then we can also see BSP, Bhajpa, Bahujan Samajwadi Party. So what about politics? Did history also observe government structure? Were there politicians? Were there rallies being carried out? Yes. What do you think? Is it the same scenario like as it is 1000 years back? Was politics even a part of their culture? Think. What do we mean when we say that there is political and social groups? What do you mean by them? You need to tell me in your own words. Okay, we can see that ladies are joining hand together. That means they want something, they want their right to be fulfilled. So this can be one sort of political group that are keeping their demands in front of government. What about others? What do you think in historical times? New social and political groups also emerged. कब तक राजा रूल करते रहेंगे? There has to be an end to the rule and kingdom. Fine. So what happened students during 1750 to 1750 CE, in the span of this year 1000 years, changes were taking place. What were the changes that were taking place? Persian wheel, spinning wheel and firams were there. There were new inventions. There were new social and political groups were also there, created for the betterment of the people. Now, economic, social, political and cultural, four different changes were taken place. Lifestyle and culture was also taking place. Okay, social. Now from forest to farm. Now forest से हटके farm चला गया. Now forest were changed to farm. And now Jati and caste system also emerged. So what do you mean by Jati system and what do you mean by caste? How come forest se farm chala gaya? How come there were lifestyle changes? Yes students, think. Emergence of new era. This is the new social and political group is showing emergence of new era. Fine, students. Now, what all things happened in this new era? What all changes took place? First of all, we'll study about history. History of the years between 1750 and 700 has observed a variety of social and political development. Now, when we say social development, that means communication, networking, parties, and culture, tradition, lifestyle, all these have taken place and changed into a new different thing. Apart from this, political development also took place, students. Now when we say political development, it is meaning that rulers and kings were ending their rule. Kings and emperors were no longer ruling, and then government was taking place. In place of kings, government came and started taking place. So because of this, there was new political era that emerged. For example, this was a Persian wheel in irrigation, and then came the spinning wheel for cotton textiles, cotton clothes, cotton wearables. Well, like we wear cotton dresses nowadays, cotton. So how this cotton was prepared? पहले तो it was prepared because of this spinning wheel. And our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi ji, he introduced the spinning wheel. Then he came from South Africa. So this was change in our social and political group. Now change and continuity remained. How? Apart from this political and social groups, what all things was observed? Early humans, we were having humans as hunters and gatherers. Yes. So what did hunters and gatherers do? They used to hunt for wild animals, cook them over fire raw and eat it. But after those changes, we can see arrival of new foods and beverages were coming. Tea was introduced, students. Tea is a very important beverage. Coffee was even cultivated in India. Did you know that in Assam there are coffee plants that are still in cultivation in Kerala in South India? And potatoes, corn, chilies, tea and coffee we also discussed. So these started coming, जो पहले कभी नहीं आया था, they also emerged in this change. Along with all these, new ideas also came in subcontinent. Now things were coming, it was changing, the dimension and direction was changing. So along with what was coming, new ideas were being generated by politicians, by the people and citizens of India in the Indian subcontinent, in various parts of Deccan India, Northern India, Eastern India and Southern India. And this brought a variety of change and revolution in our Indian country. Now, how can we observe and say that there was a period of change? First of all, we can say that when people are moving from one place to another. So there was a period of great mobility, movement of people in search of opportunity. Now wherever they were living, staying, they usually thought we are not getting any benefit. I think we should change our place. We should go for some other place where we will get a number of opportunities. We could get good wages, good price, culture, environment, atmosphere, everything is good. So people started moving, started leaving their old traditional houses and started movement in search of opportunity. One group of people who became very important in this period were Rajputs. Rajputs. Now, how about Rajputs? Like, how did they come into the limelight? They were Rajputra. Now, Rajputra means, now, if we divide the words Rajputra, okay, Raja means rural, and Putra means son. So Rajputra means the son of a ruler, the son of a kingdom, the son of a king, the son of a ruler. So these Rajputs, they came into limelight and they were of utmost importance during this period. Now, after the term included rulers and soldiers and kshatriyas and commanders who was served in armies. Now whatever Rajput will do, he will fight for his nation because he was the son of a ruler. So they used to come in the armies. and they were included in the armies. Now, they were also supposed to have chivalric code of conduct. Now, if you are Rajput, there must be some qualities which you must be possessing, you must be having. Without those qualities, you were not considered Rajput ruler at that point of previous time. Fine. So what qualities were expected of you? That you had to be extreme valor, great sense of loyalty towards your country, and Rajputs should also write poems and boats. So these were the qualities that was expected from a Rajput person. Now, similarly, other groups such as Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Ahoms, and Kayasthas, they also emerged as politically important groups during the history period. Now, when history was changing, transformation was there, revolution was there, development was there. First of all, the first person to came and the first was Rajputs, who were also known as the son of a ruler. After those Rajputs, we also saw, advancement of Maratha Empire, so Shivaji and Senapati. Sikhs were there, Jats were there, Ahoms and Kayasthas were also coming into the limelight after Rajputs, and they emerged as a politically important groups. Now, when we speak of word politically, that means they were trained in fighting, in taking place and taking everything in wars, taking importance in wars. So they were trained into each and everything. Now let's move on further, students. So tell me, what do you think is the main difference between present day group and earlier social and political groups? पहले कैसा social and political groups थे? We just studied about caste, Rajas, rulers, okay, Marathas and Rajputs. Now, do you see such type of division of groups according to their names and title? Yes, yes or no? I don't think, from my perspective, I don't think that today there is such division of rulers on the basis of their caste and creed. No, it was there in the present scenario. So in the present scenario, we can also observe that how, a person or a slave was killed. He was actually killed in front of the king, in front of each and every person, like we are seeing in this picture. And then we also saw that how they used to sit and talk about important affairs of the country. They used to decide whom to give what, which punishment should be given to which person, who is worthy of that punishment, what to do, what should be the death sentence. So this was a difference between social and political groups of the early times. Now when we think of the modern era, what can we see from these images? It's very simple. Today, do we have kings and rulers? No, we have only a democratic government. Yes, don't we? We do have a democratic government who is taking care of our India country. So what is the difference between that point of time and this point of time? So students, in a nutshell, we can easily conclude by saying that during that point of time there was no such government. The king of the rule state, he was also known as the head, the emperor. He used to look after all the affairs of the country. He used to decide which punishment should be given to which slave, what should be the amount of the punishment, from where we can complete taxes, and if he used to die, then his own son had to become the ruler. This was the position and ranks, and that point of time people were divided into caste based on their ranks. If you are Rajput, then you will be given higher privilege and importance. Then comes the Marathis, Jats, Sikhs, Ahoms and Kshatriyas. Now, today the scenario has totally changed. When we are comparing both the scenarios, we can see that on the one hand side there is totally different, and on the other hand side the scenario has totally changed. Now, today when we are speaking of 2022, we don't see such type of rulers who are still ruling, who are still making such decisions on the basis of caste system. We are living in 2022, so we have a democratic form of government in which Prime Minister and President are taking the major affairs of the country, major decisions of the country, and people are casting their vote. जो people बोलेंगे वो ही वो करेंगे. So this how the trend and the scenario has changed in 1000 years. Fine. I hope up until here things are clear to all of you. So I'll be moving forward. Evaluation time. Okay, years before that government became important, who were the most important people? Marathas, Sikhs, Jats or Rajput? What do you think, who was important? Yes, Rajputs were the most important because they were known as son of a, किसका पुत्र थे वो? Son of a ruler. Fine. So I hope the concept is clear to all of you. Now we will come and study about specifically Bharat, then Bharat now. उस टाइम भारत कैसा था, इस टाइम भारत का क्या स्थिति है? Okay. Now let's observe what was the structure. Even though Bharat mein we can see here people are saying Mera Bharat Mahan, and then they are having this sort of fraternity and brotherhood among themselves. But then on the other hand side we can see there was division. He was a priest. He was also known as Brahman. He was a ruler or a warrior, so he was known as Kshatriya. Now he was laborer, servant, so he was known as Vaishya. And lastly, people who used to do small sanitation works, they were considered as outcast. They were having no respect, so they were known as Shudras. Students, now think and reflect on the thought that one hand they are saying Mera Bharat Mahan, which means that everyone is equal in Bharat. So on the other hand, why are they having such type of differences on the basis of their occupation? If he is priest, if he is Brahman, then only he will be given the higher order, the higher caste, and if he is Shudra, then he will be given the lower caste. What type of distinction is this? This is a hierarchy of social structure of the ancient India. Now social structure is there in ancient India. We can see how triangle hierarchy is being followed over here. So students, the first person who used to get all the respect, izzat, naam, shohrat, everything was the Brahman. Now the Brahman person was Hindu priest, advisors related to religion, ऐसा करना चाहिए, वैसा करना नहीं चाहिए, priest, Brahman. So they were considered as one of the most important sectors in that time of social sector. After Brahmins came the people who used to fight wars for your own country. So those people were rulers, warriors, kshatriyas, and military owners, large landowners who used to fight wars. Now then, after then came Vaishyas. Now Vaishyas were people who were farmers and traders. छोटी छोटी जिनकी दुकानें थी, कोई सर्विस करते थे, कोई छोटा छोटा सा जॉब करते थे, कोई ट्रेड करते थे, कोई किराए की दुकान चलाते थे. So they were known as Vaishyas. Now after Vaishyas came the Shudras. Now Shudras were those people who used to work as cobblers, servants, daily wage laborers. Yes, such as this lady is doing some sort of work. And after that the most sublime caste was known as the Dalits. Now Dalits were people who used to wash toilets, take care of all the sanitization and hygiene ka dekhna, latrine cleaners. They were known as Dalits. Now Dalits were the outcast. They were known as outcast. So this was the scenario of India. India was changing. No matter, it was changing into a better manner. But this was then again a part of Indian change. According to ancient India, Hinduism, it imposed a strict social hierarchy known as caste system. The Vedas, the religious texts, the manuscripts, the scripts described main social classes such as Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. The Dalits were known as untouchables and the outcast. They were not treated with the good intentions in the society. They were having no respect, nothing. one could not marry outside their caste, and the caste system affected every part of person's life. आप जिसमें भी born हो गए हो, now you are a part of that caste system, nothing can change. So this was the situation where India was going. One hand we see they living nicely, on the other hand there were social structures of ancient India में ही था. But now if you reflect, do we see such type of things in present India? Tell me, present scenario में ऐसा है? No, I don't think we see that these things now. Yes, but not to mention there are villages that such things take place, but not very often. Now, how jatis and these caste system were there. Now, caste system is also meaning of jatis means these caste system. Fine, students. Now, how they got emerged? वो कैसे आए? शुरुआत कैसे हुई? First of all, clearing of forest. Now, first of all, after clearing of forest, there was change in the habitat of forest dwellers. Now, forest तो वो रहे नहीं. धीरे धीरे they were converted into farms. Yes, we saw how forests were converted into farms. Now they started tilling the land and they became peasants. Now farms में तो आप खाली नहीं छोड़ोगे farms को, you have to grow some of the other crops. So tilling means growing of crops on the land. Now if they are growing some sort of crops, so they are becoming the peasants or the farmers of the higher category. Now, slowly they started influencing the society and then they became a part of large complex society. So, similarly, धीरे धीरे क्या हुआ? Many people were clearing forest and converting into land. Now, जो land को उन्होंने साफ किया, it became their own land. They started tilling. They started becoming peasants, and largely the quantity of the peasants started growing and they became large complex society. Now that society was having two differences. One was economic differences, who was rich and who was poor. Other was social differences based on your culture, caste, religion, what type of peasant are you. And most differentiated society, people were grouped into jatis. So जो सबसे ज़्यादा जिसको different किया जाता था, they were converted and treated into jatis. So ऐसे ही जाति आई. From clearing of forest to the emergence of farms, the jatis were emerged. Now jatis were grouped. Now इनका groupism भी हुआ था. Jatis were grouped on the basis of their backgrounds and their occupation. आपका क्या background है, आपका क्या occupation है, we will base you on that only. So ranks they were not at all fixed. So if you were from Brahman, that was fixed. Now if you were Shudra and you are having money, you cannot become Brahman. If you are having money, आप Shudra ही रहोगे. So these ranks were not fixed permanently. The status of same jatis could vary from area to area. Suppose in one village they are having they considered as Kshatriyas. So again in the next village they will be considered as Shudras, maybe untouchables. So from area to area they used to vary. Now jatis क्या किए? Now if they are having different culture, different rules, different areas, so one jati of one particular area, they made their own rules and regulations. ठीक है? If I am jati of this area and मेरी जो जाति इस area की वो दूसरे area में नहीं चलेगी, so I am the malik over here. I'll make my own rules and regulations. Why? To manage the conduct of their members. So started becoming head of that members. Now they members were enforced by an assembly of elders. Now उसके जो बड़े बुजुर्ग थे, they were started behaving as the assembly of elders and they were known as Jati Panchayat. So in this way Panchayat word and term was introduced in the villages and these Panchayats took care of all the jatis of that villages. Now jatis were also required to follow the rules of villages which was governed by chieftain. Now that chieftain was also a part of Jati Panchayat because he was the assembly of elders. Fine. Now together such type of jatis they formed a one small unit. Now ये क्या हो गया? Now these jatis, they formed small unit of that particular area, village or state. So I will write village over here so that it becomes very easy for you all to understand. So this was the importance of jatis. Now students, different type of caste are found in our society. What is the reason for this? What do you mean by different type of caste that are found in our society? Tell me. We can see Brahmins. Again, system students, everywhere there is caste system prevailing. Brahmins who were known as priests and scholars and teachers, they think that हमको सब कुछ आता है. We are learned people, we are educated people, so we will be on the top level. उसके बाद there were Kshatriyas and warriors. They were rulers and they were famous members. Fine. Now after them, there came the person of जो काम करते थे businessmen, वैश्यास, such as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi and Lakshmi Mittal also was there because she was the chief executive of steel company. So they were Vaishyas who were doing into day-to-day work. After Vaishyas, there came the Shudras, manual workers and servants and daily wage laborers, है ना जो labor का काम करते थे. So they were Shudras. Now last में people came sweepers, outcasts, है ना untouchables, Dalit people. So Dalit people were also known as outcasts or untouchables and they were known as उनसे कोई भी बात नहीं करता था. So now what was the reason? एक ही society है, there is only one India, but why there are differences of the jatis found? Think on which basis? There must to be have some basis for that. Yes. So bases were on the basis of their occupation. Fine. Because their occupation was different from other people, so they were ranked on the basis of their occupation. I hope the concept of Jati system, Varna system and caste system is clear to all of you. Now evaluation time. Now students, Jatis were grouped on the basis of backgrounds, occupation or all of the above. Tell me. Very simple. We just now discussed. The correct answer is all of the above. Yes, because Brahmins were priests and scholar people, so they knew everything, so they will be in the top. Where these people used to work on the field and do the Dalit work and all, so they will be in the lower level of the caste system. So उनका occupation and background को मद्देनजर रखते हुए they were grouped into jatis. So to the students, today we have learned about manuscripts and scribes, how after manuscripts new social and political group came and emergence of jatis from year 700 to 1750. Now you need to tell me some of the technological changes associated with this period. क्या क्या change हुआ? क्या हम अभी भी हाथ से सब कुछ लिखते हैं? No, we use machines. Printing machines. Yes. What else? Machinery has changed. Then spinning wheel came for cotton. Yes. We studied about that as well, students. Spinning wheel. Okay. On what basis was caste divided, students? Background and occupation. On these basis, caste system was divided. So there's a homework for all of you. Now you need to observe the Hindu caste system in mind and what are the difficulties historians were facing in using the manuscripts. उनको क्या परेशानी दिक्कतें आई. Think that you are in 2022 and you are you are looking at manuscripts that were made in 1800 or 1700. So what difficulties will you face? Handwriting is not legible, or its tone is not readable at all. Whatever difficulties you will be facing, you need to write it. And how do historians divide the past into periods? What was the period of division? Do they face any problems in doing so? So these are the two homework for you all. You need to complete this so that the concept becomes very much clear in your mind and you become very confident whenever you all be going to be appear for your exams. So this brings us to the end of this topic: Jati, Varna, caste system, manuscripts, historians, cartographer and each and everything. Now, if you have any comment Any query, any doubt related to this video, kindly comment down in the chat box. I'll try to solve as soon as possible. Till then, keep studying, keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and most importantly, take care of yourself, stay hydrated in the summer heat, and keep on studying hard to achieve better grades. Thank you, take care, and goodbye.